Hey guys, coming at you today with the first keto ice cream recipe of the season. I figured I'd try my hand using some pistachios with a recipe that I know and love of mine. So I figured out a super rich and creamy white chocolate pistachio swirl ice cream recipe. So let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. My name's Alycia. I'm a pastry chef with a sweet tooth, and now I own a keto gluten-free bakery. And my videos are to teach you all the tips and tricks on how to make the best keto desserts possible. So if you don't want to know all the tips and tricks, hit up the description box where there is a blog link to the full recipe. But if you enjoy my recipes, please hit the subscribe button down there, give the video a thumbs up, leave me comments, and share with all your friends and family so that you'll be continuing to see my videos pop up on your feed every Saturday. Today, literally my favorite thing in the entire world, ice cream. So much so that ice cream is the reason I started this channel. Back in 2020, I tried that mason jar ice cream and I was so disappointed that I got to figuring out the best keto ice cream recipe possible. And I thought I would share it with people because their internet was full of videos that weren't descriptive, super easy things that I would try and they wouldn't taste good. I wanted the best desserts possible. I was a pastry chef. I love my desserts and I wanted delicious desserts in order to stick to keto. So today we're making that base vanilla ice cream recipe into a pistachio one. And of course I gotta be extra and I made a white chocolate pistachio cream swirl for it. Now, pistachios are kind of high in carbs, so this is a little bit higher carb than, say, my vanilla ice cream recipe, which is another reason I'm kind of worried about trying to make Dubai chocolate, but I'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I started with, instead of doing equal parts, the unsweetened So Delicious coconut milk and heavy cream, I upped the coconut milk a little bit and minus the cream a little bit. With this white chocolate swirl, it makes it super rich and decadent, so I don't think you are gonna be missing that little bit of extra fat. Plus we're adding some extra eggs and stuff like that too. So we need 2 cups of the So Delicious coconut milk. Any low carb milk will work. This is 1 carb for a whole cup, so pretty low. If you didn't know, heavy cream is about 6 to 8 carbs per cup of heavy cream. So even though it says 0 for 1 tablespoon, there's 16 tablespoons in a cup. So there are carbs in here. Into a big sauce pot, and then we're putting the sweetener right into here. It took me a long time to figure this out, the best ratio of sweeteners. Allulose does not freeze solid in the freezer. So if you just use all allulose, it will probably be too soft. But if you use a bulk erythritol for most of it, it's gonna be rock hard. I tried so many different ratios, different sweeteners and stuff like that. This is the best ratio. It's usually about 100 to 140 grams of allulose to 2 tablespoons of an erythritol, which I use monkfruit erythritol because I feel like it has a better balance than just straight erythritol. So I have this box of allulose that I forgot about that I just pushed it aside because I had to sift it all because it was so clumpy. This is definitely powdered. But when you buy allulose, a lot of it says powdered, but it still has some graininess to it. So a lot of times it's about 160 for a cup of allulose. This stuff, because it's so light and airy, it's only about 100 grams per cup. So it all depends on the grind of your sweetener, what the cup measurements are, which is why I always say just to weigh everything out. That was 107, 108. So I went with 120 yesterday and it was a good sweetness level for me. You can definitely do as low as 80. You can adjust the sweetness to your liking for this recipe. The thing is with ice cream is you can taste it while it's warm, but when things get frozen and cold, your taste buds get dulled and it actually tastes way less sweet. So to that we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of erythritol. Most of the time is 24 grams. We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then the pistachios. I have 2 different kinds of pistachios here. I bought it on Amazon and then realized it was probably cheaper to buy it at BJ's, our wholesale store. So I grabbed a bag while I was there. This is a pretty big bag, but it was $43. This one I think was only $18 and it's a little bit less. So definitely cheaper to go to a box store if you can find just pistachios and sea salt. But I already added salt to there. I'm gonna use these to chop up in the ice cream, and I'm gonna use these to make the pistachio cream and to steep in our milk. Any pistachios will work in any way you want to do it. For the ice cream, I used a total of 1 cup. ish. I did 108 grams because so with my Recipal app, all the pistachios had different carb counts, and even the nutrition facts on these are different. So this is 30 grams for a quarter cup. This is 27 grams for a quarter cup. This says 5 total, 3 fiber. This says 9 total, 3 fiber. That's a big discrepancy with pistachios. So it's very confusing. I don't know who to believe. This is kind of like the whole coconut thing that I mentioned back in my Samoa video. But I went with 108 grams of pistachios in here. We're not using all of these. We're gonna make the pistachio white chocolate swirl, but we're not going to use it all because it's way too much for how much ice cream we're making. But I'm going to come up with a recipe to use the extra. So we're going to add 108 grams to this, basically 1 cup. Again, you can do whatever you want here. This is just what I figured tasted delicious. So we're going to put this on, we're going to bring it up to a simmer around the edges, and then we're going to let it steep for 10 minutes. Get some of that pistachio flavor in there. Then for the ice cream base, basically, I mean, it kind of is a custard. I just don't like having leftover egg whites, so I don't use just egg yolks. I just use whole eggs. And you can use as many eggs as you want. I used 2 yesterday, and it was really rich, so I think I'm gonna stick with 2 today. But I have a subscriber that said they put like 8 eggs in my ice cream base, and they make it like a protein ice cream. This still has quite a bit of protein compared to regular ice cream. So 2 whole eggs in a bowl. You can do 2 whole eggs, 2 egg yolks, 3 whole eggs, 4 whole eggs, whatever you want to do. The main trick to my ice cream is the sweetener ratios. And make it super creamy mouthfeel for our ice cream, especially minusing some of the heavy cream. And we don't use, a lot of regular ice creams have half and half and whole milk, or a combination of heavy cream and whole milk or something like that. So with using the So Delicious coconut milk, which is a lot less fatty and rich, a lot of people in the keto community use xanthan gum, pear gum, or acacia gum, or something like that to give a better, like, creamier mouthfeel to your ice creams. I just use beef gelatin because I find it's like the easiest to incorporate because you just got to bloom it in some water, add it to your hot milk, and you're done. Plus, I always have beef gelatin on hand. Like, it comes in handy for a multitude of recipes, not just ice cream. Your eggs a little whipped there. We're going to bloom our gelatin. Need 1 tablespoon of cold water and 3/4 of a teaspoon of gelatin. Make sure you do cold water. Sprinkle it evenly over the water. Set that aside. And then the last ingredients are extracts. So I do have this super strength pistachio extract, and I'm going to use a little bit of vanilla extract as well. And that's it for the base. Oh, and an added extra, I do have some supernatural powder dyes. It's just spirulina and I believe turmeric. Try and make it a little bit more green of a color. St. Patty's Day is coming up soon, so want to make it a little bit more green. You see it's bubbling around the edges, so I'm turning that off. And we're going to temper our eggs real quick because this is nice and hot. That'll bring our eggs up to the cooked temperature, and then we can let it steep. Slowly add in the cream while whisking. So I want to break up those eggs. Once they're tempered, pour it all in, and then you can pour it back into the pot. Make sure you get everything out of here because we are going to strain it back into here. We're going to add our gelatin puck to it to melt. 1/2 teaspoon of the pistachio, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so I am going to strain this. Scrape that in a minute. You want to get as much of the liquid out as possible. If you want to use store-bought pistachio butter, one that is just pistachios, I haven't looked into it. So you are getting, like, you can see it kind of green there. And you put your pistachios into a small blender or food processor. I tried this again. I'm about to sell my Vitamix because I tried it with my Vitamix yesterday and didn't work. Had to change to this guy again. So I don't know. I just don't think I do enough big amounts of things to warrant having a very expensive Vitamix in the bakery. It's good. It says to mix this with water first. It says like 1 teaspoon of water for a whole packet. So I'm gonna get some water in this yellow and blue. When I bought these, I thought I was buying like a liquid natural food coloring. I don't want to touch it. I don't really know if you have to mix it if you're mixing it into liquid. Worked a lot easier yesterday. I only did a little bit, I guess. I don't want it to be clumpy. Luckily, it doesn't really stain too bad. Maybe I'll do little by little. That's what I did yesterday. I just put like a little bit in at a time and mix as I go. It says 1 packet, 2 teaspoons of water. And those weren't full packets, so it says mix thoroughly before adding the baked goods or frostings. It's getting there, I guess. Ooh, I should have saved some more yellow. Definitely don't need more blue. It's more yellow now, I hope. Guess I should have mixed them separately. A little bit more yellow. Oh well, lesson learned. That's okay. Well, looks like a muddy green St. Patty's Day. I'm gonna put this over an ice bath. Being over an ice bath, it'll probably only take like maybe 30 minutes at room temperature. I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator too to cool it down even faster. We'll get on to making the pistachio cream. Okay, so what I did was just make a white chocolate ganache with 4 ounces of heavy cream and 4 ounces of our keto white chocolate chips. The only ones I've really been able to get are Chalk Zero. I think you can get Lily's online and in store, but they changed their recipe. And the brand I like, Bake Believe, doesn't have white chocolate chips, at least at my Walmart. So I usually stock up on Chalk Zero when they have a sale. So we're gonna heat up 4 ounces of cream in the microwave and then add 4 ounces of white chocolate chips to that and then pour it into this already blended up pistachios. So 4 ounces are 112 grams. Pretty sure it's about 3/4 of a cup of chips, but I'll measure it and put it in this bowl for you. I don't have a 1 cup measure, so I'm gonna use this 1/2 cup. Again, like, how do you measure chocolate chips, really? Kind of estimate. And 1/2. That was about it. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little film on top, which means that is ready to go. White chocolate chips in. Let that submerge, and we're gonna blend up this a little bit. Just had an accident with this. I hope it's gonna work. Taped it back together. We're only gonna add a couple other ingredients, some pistachio extract and a little bit of salt and a little bit of stevia. This is all to taste, so if you wanna put this all together first and then add the salt and stevia, feel free to do that. I did it the other day. I thought it could use a decent amount of salt, 1/2 teaspoon, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of stevia. And I did powdered. You can also do liquid if you want. They may have different strengths though, I found. This has been sitting for about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna give it a stir or whisk. Now, if you've seen any of my ganache videos, you know that normally white chocolate, especially Chalk Zeros, doesn't really make a very thick ganache, but we don't need it for this because we're adding it to a bunch of pistachios. I'll give this one more blend up, and then we're gonna stream in the ganache. You can get this as smooth as you'd like or keep it as chunky as you'd like. We're making this now because we need this to cool down before we add it to our ice cream. We do gotta add our 1/4 teaspoon of pistachio extract. Okay, at this point, taste it for sweetness, salt. Tastes a lot different warm though. Gotta remember that too. It's gonna be frozen. Since you do have time, you can always put a little bit of this on a plate or something, throw it in the freezer to see what it's gonna taste like when it's frozen. Because that's the hardest part with ice cream, is knowing what it's gonna actually taste like flavor-wise and sweetness-wise, because sweetness brings out flavor. So if it's not sweet to you, it's not gonna be flavorful to you either. So you definitely wanna do anything you can to kind of figure out how it's gonna taste once it's all frozen. So we're gonna measure the whole thing first. I should have moved my camera over because we're not using the stove anymore. Oh, I already knew what it was. I don't know why I'm measuring it again. That's a little bit more than it was yesterday just because finagling with different machines. I lost some in transit, probably. Okay, we can divide that pretty evenly, I think. Okay, so yesterday I put 1/2 of this in the ice cream, and it was kind of a lot. Like, there wasn't a lot of ice cream to swirl ratio. It was a lot of chunks of this, and you kind of lost the delicious pistachio creaminess of the ice cream. So only 1/3 of this, so 146 grams. What I like to do is put it in one of these guys to make it easy to do like zigzags in between the layers of the ice cream. Start by putting some in there. That is ready to put in your ice cream. Now, if you're making this ahead of time and you're not going to churn to the next day, you got to keep it in the refrigerator, but I'd pull it out quite a bit ahead of time to get it to room temperature. If you made it this far in the video, save this. We're going to add some more white chocolate to it in another recipe and make some pistachio truffles. Or it is going to get thick. You can just use it as like a pistachio white chocolate spread or a dip for cookies or whatever you like. Okay, I think our ice cream base should be ready. Oh, and if you want to not use a churner for this, I will link up there my no churn ice cream recipe. You can do all the steps. Heat up cream with the pistachios, strain them, then cool it down a lot before trying to whip it into whipped cream and mix it with the sweetened condensed milk. We're down to 43. I do have some more yellow food coloring, so I'm gonna yellow it up a little bit. I don't know how much that's really gonna help. That's just turmeric, so it doesn't really pack a ton of punch. Looking better. Okay, I like that color better. Go run and get my ice cream bowl. And while that's going, we're gonna chop up 54 grams or about a half cup of those whole pistachios. I'm just gonna put it in a baggie and break them up with a rolling pin. I mention this in all my videos, but this mixer seems to go a little bit slower than my one upstairs on the stir function. So I always hit it not on the first turn on, I go up to the next one. If you have a bowl with a spout on it, it's much easier. Or a measuring cup, I did that yesterday. Almost up to the top of the paddle. It really hasn't been very long at all. Because it's cool in here, my bowl is really frozen. Some people say they have problems churning their ice cream. It's because your freezer probably isn't as cold as it should be. And if it's not, your house needs to be real cold. Because if this melts before it's churned enough, it's not gonna get churned. At this point, I'm gonna pour in the pistachios. It is really frozen. I put it in my chest freezer that is like -10. I'm making a mess. What happens when I'm trying to rush? Okay, just let it go a couple more minutes. I have a bowl, scissors to cut the tip on that. I think we're good. All the way up to the top there. My bowl is still pretty much frozen, like all the way down. During summertime, like it'll be down to here, not ice anymore. So it's really hard to churn ice cream during summertime. Even if there's, like I have AC, but it still gets way too hot down in the bakery. Try to get most of it off here, but always have something. Usually I use the lid to my bowl to set this on while you get the rest of your ice cream out. So do a layer. Ooh. My spoon is warm, you can tell. Should have everything chilled really if you want really good ice cream, because anything that melts is gonna have a little bit of an off texture. Cut a decent sized tip, I'd say. I go this way and this way. I did like, I think 3 or 4 layers last time. I might just do 1 across instead of 2. Like I said, it was a little bit too much cream to ice cream ratio. Oh, be soft. Pistachio swirl on top. Into the freezer it goes. And it has to freeze for at least 8 hours, if not overnight. So I'll meet you back here tomorrow to give it a taste. Okay, it's the next day. We're gonna scoop some of this delicious white chocolate pistachio swirl ice cream and give it a taste. Turned out to be a nice green. Our swirl isn't the prettiest green, but it's a nice contrast. Now my freezer is almost at 0, so it might be actually kind of hard. So my freezer is a little bit colder than, say, your freezer at home. Most freezers are around 10 degrees, not 0. That ganache swirl in it definitely breaks up the scoop. I looked up the difference between like a custard and an ice cream, and a custard is actually served at a warmer temperature than ice cream too. It actually kind of looks like green tea ice cream, which I've been wanting to do a recipe for that too. Should probably let this warm up a little bit. Probably tastes better. It's definitely really cold. I think I'm gonna put a little scoop in a dish and try it when it's softened up a little bit. It's also really cold in here. Hold please while I wait for this to soften. Okay, I think it's been out long enough. I like mine, like I'm one of those people that like microwave their ice cream. Nutty, sweet. The chopped nuts in there give a little bit of salt when you get one of those with the sweet, creamy pistachio cream. It's delicious. Now, if it was me, I would make like a chocolate shell to put on this, or I'll link up there my chocolate fudge recipe, but this is delicious. And for one whole cup of this ice cream, it's 4 grams of net carbs. Not too shabby. It's delicious. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe and give it a try for yourself if you are a pistachio lover, and try your hand at making a pistachio paste to prepare yourself for maybe having a Dubai chocolate bar in the future. What other ice creams do I have to do? I will link up there my ice cream playlist. I have like 30 something ice creams on my playlist because it is one of my favorite things in the entire world, but I'm sure I'm still missing some. What would you like to see the most? I'll put it on the docket for this summer. Don't forget to check out my Amazon shop page. The link is down in the description box below, along with the blog link to the full recipe. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I'll be back with many more keto, low-carb, healthy meals, desserts, and snack recipes. Bye, guys. Happy ice cream making.